A colossal Valtrax mothership entered Earth's orbit, casting a shadow over the planet that could be seen for miles as it descended through the atmosphere, its metallic surface gleaming ominously against the blue sky. Alarms blared in every corner of the globe, and chaos erupted in cities. As the news spread like wildfire, the world watched in disbelief as the massive ship loomed over major capitals. The threat it represented was palpable, and fear gripped the hearts of millions. The Valtrax were known throughout the galaxy for their ruthless conquests. Their advanced technology and sheer military might have reduced entire civilizations to ashes. Their reputation preceded them. And now they had arrived at Earth, demanding submission. The message broadcast from the ship echoed across the airwaves, a cold mechanical voice commanding humanity to kneel before the Valtrax Empire or face annihilation. Leaders of nations scrambled to respond to the crisis. Emergency meetings were held in bunkers and war rooms as military advisors rushed to develop a strategy to counter the impending threat. While some advocated for immediate surrender, others argued fiercely for resistance. The tension in the room was electric as world leaders grappled with the reality of their situation. Meanwhile, on the streets, panic spread like wildfire. People gathered in groups, staring at the sky with dread on their faces. Some prayed, while others hoarded supplies and fortified their homes. The atmosphere crackled with uncertainty and fear. Every news report heightened anxiety as analysts speculated on the alien intentions and the capabilities of the Valtrax fleet. In the heart of the chaos, a group of rogue Valtrax aboard the mothership observed the turmoil unfolding on Earth. Their expressions conflicted. They had come to admire the human spirit. The courage they saw in resistance fighters and everyday citizens was something they had not anticipated. They whispered among themselves about the Empire's brutal ways and the senseless destruction they were ordered to unleash. Within the shadows of the Valtrax command center, a plan began to form as discontent simmered among the ranks. A small faction of these rebels decided to take a stand. They had seen enough of the Empire's cruelty and felt compelled to reach out to the humans. Beneath their imposing ship, they activated a covert communication device, sending a message through the vastness of space to any human who might receive it. On the ground, a tech-savvy teenager in a basement cluttered with gadgets intercepted the signal. His heart raced as he deciphered the alien transmission. The words that appeared on his screen were unlike anything he had ever encountered. They spoke of vulnerabilities and weaknesses within the Valtrax Empire, a chance for humanity to fight back against their would-be conquerors. He quickly gathered his friends, and they formed a small group dedicated to sharing this newfound information. They brainstormed strategies, creating plans to unify their communities to prepare for the worst. While the world outside was consumed by fear, they began to strategize and share knowledge that could turn the tide of the impending invasion. In the corridors of Paraworld, leaders continued to debate their next move, unaware of the brewing rebellion among the Valtrax and the quiet resolve building among humanity. As the mothership hung in the sky, it became a symbol of both dread and a spark of hope. The stage was set for a confrontation that would define the fate of Earth and perhaps the galaxy itself. As the Valtrax mothership loomed ominously in the sky, a sense of urgency permeated the atmosphere. Aboard the ship, a council of high-ranking Valtrax commanders convened. Their elongated forms gathered around a holographic display showing strategic maps of Earth. The tension was palpable. Their empire was not accustomed to failure nor to hesitation as they plotted their next moves against humanity. The lead commander, a towering figure with glinting scales and piercing eyes, pounded a fist on the table, demanding action. Now is the time to show them the futility of resistance. He declared, his voice a rumble that reverberated through the chamber. The other commanders nodded in agreement, but unease rippled through some of the younger officers who had been watching the humans with growing interest. In the shadows of the command center, a group of Valtrax rebels whispered among themselves. They were disillusioned with the Empire's brutal tactics and the indiscriminate destruction they had witnessed in previous conquests, they had seen enough of the devastation the Empire wrought, and their eyes had been opened to the possibility of coexistence with other species. They could no longer remain silent. One of the rebels, a strategist named Zarkon, stepped forward proposing a daring idea. We should reach out to the humans, he urged. If we inform them of our plan and share vital intelligence, we could weaken the Empire from within. The others hesitated, but the weight of their shared experiences began to sway opinions. They understood that the humans displayed a resilience that could not be ignored. Back on Earth, the teenager who intercepted the Veltrax signal found himself at the center of a small but determined group. They worked tirelessly through sleepless nights, crafting plans and gathering resources. Their makeshift headquarters was filled with maps, diagrams, and frantic brainstorming sessions. They felt a sense of urgency as they realized the weight of their mission. With each passing hour, more and more civilians began to join the movement. As news of the Veltrax threat spread, ordinary people sought to contribute to the resistance. Artists, engineers, and activists, all united under a common goal: to protect their home. While governments debated strategy, the grassroots effort grew more organized. They created networks for communication, sharing tactics and information across communities. Meanwhile, Zarkon and his fellow rebels made contact with the humans through a secure channel. Using their technology to bypass Veltrax surveillance, they communicated their intentions and revealed the Empire's vulnerabilities, laying bare the secrets that could be crucial in the impending conflict. They explained the Empire's reliance on hierarchical command and how disrupting it could cause chaos among the ranks. The humans listened intently, their initial skepticism giving way to cautious hope as they realized the potential of this unexpected alliance. This could change everything, they thought. If we can disrupt their command structure, we might stand a chance. They brainstormed ways to amplify the Veltrax rebels' intelligence and create a multi-pronged approach to combat the looming invasion. Plans began to take shape as the resistance organized. They prepared for the worst while striving for the best. Their message spread across the globe, fueled by urgency and a newfound determination. Ordinary people, armed with knowledge and courage, stood ready to face the alien threat together. The stage was being set for a confrontation that could determine the fate of both species. In the depths of the Veltrax mothership, discontent simmered among the ranks. The divide between the loyalists and the rebels grew more pronounced as whispers of dissent spread. Fear began to infiltrate the Veltrax command structure. The balance of power was shifting unbeknownst to the commanders as the rebels plotted a course for change and the humans prepared for their stand against tyranny. In the heart of a fortified command center, a global summit unfolded. World leaders gathered around a massive table, their faces drawn and tense. The weight of the impending Veltrax invasion hung heavy in the air as they exchanged heated arguments on how best to respond. Some called for immediate compliance, hoping to placate the aliens, while others insisted on a show of strength. The President of the United States, a determined woman with a fierce resolve, took the floor, her voice steady, as she addressed the room. We cannot surrender our freedom to conquerors who know nothing of our spirit, she declared, her words resonating with many as she called for a united front against the Veltrax Empire. The mood began to shift as leaders began to see the merit in resisting rather than yielding to fear. Meanwhile, in makeshift headquarters across the globe, the grassroots resistance blossomed. The teenager who had intercepted the Veltrax signal became a leader among them, rallying supporters and devising strategies. They drew upon their diverse skills and knowledge to develop countermeasures against the impending threat. Engineers crafted makeshift weapons, while computer experts worked to hack into Veltrax communications. Back in the Veltrax mothership, Zarkon and his fellow rebels faced their own challenges. The tensions between loyalists and dissidents grew more intense As the Loyalists became suspicious of any actions that threatened their power, they plotted their own countermeasures to neutralize the rebellion and maintain control. As Zarkon pushed for cooperation with humanity, the risk of exposure loomed over them like a dark cloud. On Earth, the Resistance began to coalesce into a formidable force. They trained tirelessly, preparing for the battles to come. They exchanged information and forged alliances with local militias as they moved swiftly to secure resources and build a network of support. Every small victory ignited their resolve, fueling their determination to stand against the Valtrax threat. The day of reckoning approached as Valtrax forces began to mobilize their ships, readying for the invasion. As the countdown to the assault began, tensions rose on both sides. The command center on the Valtrax mothership hummed with activity as commanders plotted their strategies, while the humans prepared for the worst but refused to back down. In a bold move, the Resistance launched a series of guerrilla attacks against Valtrax outposts across the globe. These tactics caught the alien forces off guard, demonstrating humanity's unexpected resourcefulness and adaptability. News of these skirmishes spread like wildfire, boosting morale among the Resistance and igniting a fire of hope in communities long shrouded in fear. Zarkon's team within the Valtrax mothership monitored the chaos unfolding on Earth. With a mix of pride and apprehension, they witnessed the humans turning the tide against their own kind and felt a flicker of hope for a new alliance built on mutual respect and shared goals. The time for action was nearing as they planned their next steps to disrupt the Empire's command structure from within. In the Resistance headquarters, the teenager and his friends gathered to discuss their plans for the imminent assault. They understood the importance of timing and precision. Their focus was clear. They needed to launch a counteroffensive that would shake the Valtrax to their core. They worked through the night, sketching blueprints and strategies, fueled by adrenaline and a sense of purpose. As the clock ticked down, humanity braced itself for the inevitable clash. A blend of fear and determination surged through their ranks. They were ready to fight for their freedom and their very existence. They knew the stakes were high, but they also understood that this was their moment to shine, their chance to prove that even in the face of overwhelming odds, they would not be subdued by an alien empire that had underestimated the human spirit. The day arrived with an unsettling stillness. As humanity braced itself for the Valtrax invasion, the atmosphere crackled with tension as civilians huddled in shelters. While the military readied its defenses, the countdown to the attack loomed over them like a storm cloud, and whispers of resistance echoed in every corner of the globe. On the Valtrax mothership, commanders monitored their forces, preparing for what they believed would be an easy conquest. The lead commander eyed the swirling galaxy map, displaying Earth and its cities with a sense of superiority. He addressed his subordinates. "Today, we demonstrate the futility of resistance." He declared, his voice cold and unwavering. "They will submit or face utter destruction." As the fleet descended toward Earth, a small group of Valtrax rebels, led by Zarkon, moved stealthily through the lower levels of the ship. They had been gathering intelligence about the mothership's command structure, and their plan was simple yet risky. They intended to disrupt communications and create chaos among the Loyalists. Zarkon felt a mix of fear and excitement as they navigated the dimly lit corridors, knowing that their actions could tip the balance of power. Back on Earth, the Resistance had mobilized a network of allies, including local militias and civilians who had taken up arms. They had prepared for weeks, and now it was time to put their plans into action. As they deployed their forces, they employed guerrilla tactics, surprising the Valtrax. With their unconventional approach, humanity's adaptability began to show as they executed coordinated attacks on strategic targets. The initial skirmishes were fierce. The Valtrax had expected an easy victory, but they quickly found themselves on the defensive. The Resistance fought with fierce determination, employing hit-and-run tactics to outmaneuver the more powerful alien forces. as the battles raged on. News of human resilience spread like wildfire, igniting a sense of hope among those who had felt powerless. As Zarkon and his team continued their mission within the mothership, they could hear the distant sounds of chaos. As the humans clashed with their comrades, they understood that time was running out, and they needed to act quickly. They reached the communications hub, where a control panel flickered with lights, indicating the flow of information throughout the fleet. Working swiftly, they began to disable systems and reroute communications, in a daring attempt to create confusion among the Valtrax loyalists. Their hearts raced as they sensed the danger surrounding them with every passing moment. The risk of discovery loomed larger, but the thought of empowering humanity fueled their resolve. Outside, the mothership battles erupted across the globe. With each conflict, the Valtrax were forced to reassess their strategy. Humanity was proving to be a far more formidable opponent than they had anticipated. Their advanced technology had been countered by human ingenuity, as makeshift weapons and strategies turned the tide in unexpected ways. In a pivotal moment of the conflict, a group of resistance fighters managed to breach a Valtrax stronghold. Armed with knowledge from the rebels aboard the mothership, they executed a calculated attack that resulted in the capture of a key Valtrax officer who held vital information about the Empire's command structure. This victory sent shockwaves through the Valtrax ranks, shaking their confidence. Back in the Valtrax command center, chaos erupted as their communication systems began to fail. The lead commander slammed his fist on the table, furious at the unexpected turn of events. The humans were not merely resisting, they were launching a calculated counteroffensive that threatened to unravel the Empire's plans for domination. As the Valtrax struggled to regain control, Zarkon and his rebels celebrated their success, knowing that every small victory brought them closer to tipping the scales in favor of humanity. Their courage was a beacon of hope, illuminating a path toward an uncertain yet promising future. As the battle for Earth intensified, the stakes had never been higher, and the outcome remained uncertain. As the battles raged on Earth, the atmosphere shifted dramatically. With each skirmish, humanity's resilience became more evident. The Valtrax, the unexpected counteroffensives, and strategic ingenuity began to fracture the confidence of the alien empire. While the Valtrax struggled to maintain order within their ranks, whispers of rebellion echoed through the halls of the mothership. In the depths of the Valtrax command center, Zarkon and his fellow rebels seized the opportunity to make contact with the human resistance. They initiated a secure transmission that flickered to life on screens in various makeshift command centers across the globe. The rebels revealed their intentions and shared critical intelligence about the Empire's vulnerabilities. On the other side of the transmission, the teenager who had started it all stood in awe as he listened to Zarkon's voice. The urgency and sincerity in the Valtrax rebels' words ignited a sense of hope among the resistance fighters. "We can help each other," Zarkon insisted. "If we work together, we can disrupt their command and bring the Empire to its knees." The humans exchanged glances filled with disbelief and excitement as they contemplated the possibilities. Plans began to take shape as the alliance formed between the Valtrax rebels and humanity. The teenagers and their allies eagerly shared their knowledge of Earth's terrain, tactics, and technology, while Zarkon's team provided insights into Valtrax command structure weaknesses. The exchange of information ignited a fire within the resistance, fueling their determination to protect their home. As the collaboration deepened, both sides found themselves forging an unexpected bond. Despite their differences, they learned to trust one another. As they developed strategies for the upcoming battles, they identified key targets that would disrupt Valtrax operations, and morale. Their combined efforts transformed their understanding of the conflict, making them more formidable than ever. In the Valtrax mothership, loyalists became increasingly aware of dissent brewing within their ranks. Suspicion grew as they noticed unexplained failures in communications and coordination. The once unshakable confidence of the lead commander began to wane as reports of human victories piled up. He could sense the tide turning against them, and the panic began to spread among his officers. Back on Earth, the Resistance prepared for a pivotal assault on a major Valtrax stronghold. Equipped with the intelligence gathered from their newfound allies, they launched a coordinated attack targeting critical command centers. The plan was bold and risky, but the humans understood that this was their moment to strike while the Valtrax were reeling from internal turmoil. As the attack commenced, the streets, filled with a mix of fear and determination, civilians joined the fight, bolstered by the knowledge that they were not alone. The Valtrax rebels provided real-time updates from the mothership, helping guide human forces through the chaos as the Alliance proved its worth on the battlefield. The assault began with a series of calculated strikes designed to sow confusion among the Valtrax. Ranks Resistance fighters moved with precision, hitting their targets and retreating before the enemy could fully respond. Their adaptability and speed allowed them to exploit every weakness exposed by the intelligence shared by their Valtrax allies. Inside the Valtrax command center, panic escalated as loyalists struggled to regain control. Their communication systems had been compromised, and reports of chaos on the ground flooded in. The lead commander realized too late that his empire's arrogance had led to its vulnerability. As he watched the tide of battle turn, he understood that they had underestimated the resilience of humanity and the strength of an alliance forged in defiance. The unexpected unity between humans and Valtrax rebels became a beacon of hope on both sides. As they fought for freedom and survival, the conflict transformed into a battle not just for Earth, but for the future of coexistence in the galaxy. Each victory strengthened the Alliance and solidified their resolve to stand against the tyranny of the Valtrax Empire. As the stakes grew higher, the stage was set for a confrontation that would determine the fate of both species. As the sun set over the battlefield, a tense silence fell upon the Valtrax mothership. Zarkon and his group of rebels had successfully infiltrated the lower levels, where they meticulously planned to sabotage critical systems that would cripple the Empire's command structure. Time was of the essence. They knew the humans were relying on them, and failure was not an option. With stealth and determination, they moved through the dimly lit corridors, avoiding patrols of loyalist guards. Their hearts raced as they approached a central communications hub. This was the nerve center of the Valtrax fleet, and disabling it would send shockwaves through the entire command structure. Zarkon exchanged glances with his fellow rebels. They understood the risks involved, but they also felt the weight of their mission. Once they reached the hub, they quickly set to work. The console flickered with lights and information displaying the operational status of the entire fleet. Zarkon initiated a series of commands designed to disrupt communications, while his comrades stood watch, scanning for any signs of danger. The tension was palpable as they worked against the clock. Every second felt like an eternity. Outside the mothership, the Resistance fighters launched another wave of attacks on Valtrax strongholds. Their movements were coordinated with precision. The intelligence shared by Zarkon's group proved invaluable, allowing the humans to exploit weaknesses and dismantle Valtrax defenses. However, as they pushed deeper into enemy territory, reports of suspicious activity began to circulate among the loyalists. A loyalist commander, sensing something amiss, launched a thorough investigation into the command center. He questioned officers and searched for any signs of betrayal. As he delved deeper into the hierarchy, he uncovered whispers of dissent among the ranks. Panic began to spread as loyalists turned on each other, fueled by fear and suspicion. Back in the communications hub, Zarkon and his team encountered unexpected resistance. Just as they began to execute their plan, a squad of loyalist guards burst into the room. Weapons raised, they had been tipped off about the rebels, and the element of surprise was lost. A fierce firefight erupted within the confined space. The sound of blaster fire echoed as Zarkon fought to protect his comrades. In the midst of the chaos, Zarkon managed to input the final commands to initiate the system shutdown as alarms blared and red lights flashed. He knew they had triggered a countdown that would disrupt all communications throughout the Valtrax fleet. They had succeeded in their mission, but the cost was rising as Loyalist forces closed in. Outside the mothership, the humans felt the effects of the sabotage almost immediately. As the Valtrax struggled to communicate and coordinate their defenses, the resistance fighters pressed the attack, pushing forward with renewed vigor, taking advantage of the confusion. They unleashed a series of assaults on command posts and supply lines. However, the Loyalist commander quickly adapted to the chaos. He mobilized his forces, regrouping what remained of his troops, and countering the human advance with calculated precision. The tides of battle shifted once more as the Valtrax began to recover from the initial shock of the Resistance's onslaught. Back in the communications hub, Zarkon and his remaining rebels fought valiantly, but the odds were against them. One by one his comrades fell to the overwhelming numbers of Loyalist guards. In a final desperate act, Zarkon activated a self-destruct mechanism within the console, sealing his fate. As he initiated the countdown, he shouted to his remaining comrades to escape while they could. As the rebels fled, the room explosions echoed through the mothership, signaling the destruction of critical systems. Chaos ensued within the Valtrax command center. As Loyalists struggled to maintain order, the ship was thrown into disarray, and the alliance between the Valtrax rebels and humanity grew stronger amid the turmoil. The seeds of change were being sown, even as sacrifices were made in the name of freedom. The battle for Earth was far from over, and the stakes had never been higher. As the explosions rocked the Valtrax mothership, Zarkon and the surviving rebels sprinted through the chaotic corridors. Their hearts pounded in their chests. Adrenaline fueling their escape alarms blared and red lights flashed as the ship descended into disarray. Loyalist guards scrambled to regain control, while the chaos created opportunities for the humans on the ground. Outside the mothership, resistance fighters pressed their advantage as Valtrax communications faltered. The humans launched a series of well-coordinated strikes across enemy strongholds. The Valtrax had been thrown off balance, unable to relay commands or reinforce positions. As the resistance capitalized on their confusion, the tide of battle began to turn in favor of humanity. Resistance fighters fought fiercely, pushing back against the Valtrax with renewed vigor. Every victory inspired more civilians to join the cause. Ordinary people rose to the challenge, taking up arms and fighting for their home. As makeshift militias formed, they coordinated with the remaining military forces, their determination creating a formidable front. Back aboard the mothership, Zarkon and his comrades navigated the holes, dodging frantic Loyalists. Their mission had been a success, but they were not out of danger. Yet they needed to regroup and relay their critical information to the humans. They were running out of time as the self-destruct countdown echoed in their minds. They pushed forward, determined to reach the escape pods. In the chaos, the Loyalist commander struggled to re-establish order within the Valtrax ranks. He issued frantic orders, attempting to mobilize what remained of his forces, but morale was crumbling as reports of human successes flooded in. Loyalists questioned their loyalty, wondering if the Empire could truly maintain its grip on Earth. On the ground, the resistance fighters pressed deeper into enemy territory, their strategy evolving as they adapted to the shifting dynamics of the battlefield. Each skirmish served as a learning experience. They adjusted tactics and grew more synchronized in their efforts as they began to exploit the growing rifts among the Valtrax. A pivotal moment came when a group of resistance fighters stumbled upon a Valtrax command post abandoned in the wake of the chaos. They seized the opportunity to gather vital equipment and weapons, discovering plans detailing the Valtrax's future operations. This intel could change everything. They realized as they quickly transmitted the information to their allies. As Zarkon and his remaining rebels neared the escape pods, they encountered loyalist guards barricading their path. The confrontation was intense and desperate, but fueled by the knowledge of their mission's success. The rebels fought back with unwavering resolve. Zarkon felt the weight of his comrades' sacrifices driving him forward. He could not let their efforts be in vain. The battle for the escape pods became a fierce showdown. Blaster fire erupted as both sides fought for control. In the heat of the moment, Zarkon spotted a familiar face among the loyalists, a former friend turned enemy. Caught in the fray, their eyes locked for a brief moment. The weight of betrayal and lost ideals hung heavy in the air. In a split-second decision, Zarkon knew what he had to do. He called out to his former friend, hoping to reach the remnants of their bond. "Remember who we are," Zarkon shouted. "We can still change this. If we fight together." The words struck a chord, and for a fleeting moment doubt flickered in the loyalists' eyes. The chaos escalated around them as Zarkon's words hung in the air. The fight continued, but the seeds of doubt had been planted within the ranks of the Valtrax. As the loyalty of the soldiers began to falter, their resolve weakened. This moment of vulnerability marked a turning point, not just for the rebels, but for the entire battle for Earth. With renewed strength, Zarkon and his remaining comrades pushed through the loyalist guards, using the distraction to reach the escape pods. Their hearts raced as they boarded the ships, knowing that their survival meant the continuation of the fight. The Valtrax Empire had underestimated humanity, and now the tide was shifting toward freedom, and hope the dawn of a new era was on the horizon. As the escape pods rocketed away from the Valtrax mothership, Zarkon and his surviving comrades took a moment to catch their breath. The chaos of battle still echoed in their minds, but now a sense of urgency and purpose surged within them. They had escaped, but the fight was far from over. As they made their way toward a rendezvous point with the human resistance, their resolve only deepened. On the ground, the resistance fighters celebrated their victories as reports of human successes flooded in. Communities united under a common cause had fought valiantly against their oppressors. Morale soared as civilians and soldiers alike found hope in their shared struggles. News of the alliance between the Valtrax rebels and humanity spread quickly, igniting a fire of determination across the globe. In a makeshift command center, leaders from both the resistance and the Valtrax rebels gathered to discuss their next steps. Zarkon stood before them, addressing the coalition with passion. "The momentum is ours," he declared. "We have shown the Valtrax that we will not back down. Their arrogance has led to their downfall. If we continue to work together, we can push them from our planet." The humans listened intently, exchanging glances of determination as they processed the implications of their newfound alliance. They had fought tirelessly to protect their home, and now they had the opportunity to reclaim their future. The unity forged in the heat of battle became a powerful symbol of hope as they rallied to prepare for the final assault against the Valtrax forces. Meanwhile, within the Valtrax mothership, the lead commander faced an unprecedented crisis. The loss of communication and command had left his forces scattered, and vulnerable. Reports of defections among the ranks began to surface. Loyalists questioned the Empire's motives as fear and doubt crept into the hearts of those who once believed in their mission. Back on Earth, the Resistance prepared for a massive coordinated offensive targeting the remaining Valtrax strongholds. The final push required meticulous planning and unwavering courage as fighters from various backgrounds came together. Their shared experiences and skills formed a formidable coalition determined to reclaim their home. As the dawn of the final assault approached, Zarkon and the Resistance fighters geared up for what would be the ultimate confrontation. The stakes had never been higher. Their hearts beat as one filled with hope and a determination to fight for their freedom. They understood the importance of their mission and the sacrifices made by those who had come before them. When the moment arrived, the Resistance launched their attack with a fury that caught the Valtrax off guard, using guerrilla tactics. and the intelligence shared by Zarkon's team, they struck swiftly and decisively. Chaos erupted among the Valtrax. Ranks as humanity demonstrated their ingenuity, and spirit the battles raged on with each victory, reinforcing their belief in the fight for freedom. As the dust began to settle, the tide of battle shifted significantly. The Valtrax forces found themselves overwhelmed by the combined strength of the resistance fighters, and the rebel Valtrax Zarkon led his comrades alongside human allies, fighting side by side against their common enemy. Their bond, forged through adversity and mutual respect, became an unbreakable force. Finally, the turning point arrived as the resistance breached the core command center of the Valtrax mothership. Zarkon confronted the lead commander face to face in a moment that encapsulated the struggle for freedom with conviction. He declared, "This is where your empire falls." The commander sneered, but doubt flickered in his eyes as the tide of battle became increasingly clear. In that moment, the once imposing facade of the Valtrax empire began to crumble as soldiers on both sides felt the weight of their choices. The loyalty of the Valtrax loyalists began to shift as they witnessed the courage of their former enemies standing united against oppression. They saw a future filled with possibility and hope. As the last remnants of the Valtrax were driven from Earth, the dawn of a new era emerged. Humanity had not only fought for their survival, but had forged an alliance that would transcend species. The victory marked the beginning of cooperation and understanding between humans and Valtrax rebels as they embraced the potential for coexistence. In the aftermath, the world began to heal. Communities came together to rebuild and forge a brighter future. The scars of battle remained, but they served as reminders of the strength found in unity and the courage to stand against tyranny. As Zarkon and his human allies looked toward the horizon, they understood that their fight was just beginning. A new chapter awaited them in the galaxy, a future filled with hope and the promise of peace.